Right, so we are on match number 13 for Bryan Danielson's AEW run, and this is the start of the feud between two of my favourite wrestlers, period. And obviously this is Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. Hangman Adam Page beat Kenny Omega at Full Gear for the AEW Men's World Championship, and Bryan Danielson obviously won the AEW Men's World Championship Contender Tournament where he beat Miro, which was the last match he had. Now, before we get into the match tonight, which is not against Hangman, it's against Evil Uno, part of the Dark Order. I just want to go over the promo segment setting up the feud. Hangman comes out to celebrate National Cowboy Shit Day, where he's just town hall celebrating his title win with the Dark Order. And Bryan comes out, originally congratulates Hangman, says it was great. But then he goes on to say he's disappointed that it's not Kenny there. Then Hangman says, I beat his ass. There's a bit of tension brewing. And he says he did it in quick at the time, 30 minutes, which is obviously a reference to Bryan's match with Kenny, his debut. The promo gets a bit more tense than that, Bryan, the best part of the promo was going, hey, I wanted a match right now. And, you're saying you're about it, but, you're not a fighting champion. When I won WrestleMania, which your name drops WrestleMania, the crowd instantly hates it. He goes, I wrestled the very next day. And then he goes, the crowd's booing him like hell. And he goes, of course Virginia boos hard work. It was great. I love this version of Bryan where he's just, he's still, he's just about hard work and, being driven, kind of condescending in a way. Not as much as he is with Eddie. But that's another time. Hangman says he's all for having the match right now, asks Virginia. Bryan asks Virginia. The crowd obviously wanted doing the yes chants. And then Bryan goes, look, I know Hangman has excuses his whole career for being a failure. I'm in my gear, you're in jeans and cowboy boots. I don't want you to have an excuse because I'll beat you for that belt. And then Hangman basically fronts Bryan, becomes a little scruffle, and then the Dark Order hold both guys back. And Bryan goes, there you go, all your little friends holding you back because they know. And then, Bryan gets the mic because the crowd's chanting at this point, screaming, let them fight. Obviously, it's the big match. And Bryan just goes, they wouldn't because they know I kick his ass. And then Hangman breaks free, sends Bryan out the ring. And then it sets up the match, which is Bryan Danielson versus the Dark Order, Hangman stable at the time. Member, Evil Uno, which is obviously to, kind of get a Hangman, build the feud, which completely all for. So it went to break after the promo, and then it comes back for the match. This is the heel Bryan Danielson I love throughout this match. It's only short. Every move he does, I'm like, that's my goat. That's my fucking goat. That's what I'm saying. To myself, I'm looking insane when I'm doing it. Oh, he's such a prick. And the best way, the crowd booing for him. And bear in mind, it's Evil Uno. So Evil Uno is not the highest level of competitor, but he's so condescending. He's disgusted. It's the main thing. He's disgusted he's in the ring with Evil Uno. You can see from the glares he looks at him, the joint manipulation at the start. He's just not in his league. And Bryan just keeps coming really. It's kind of one of those situations where it's an underdog story, but it's zero chance. Uno's never winning this. As a match, again, it's only short. It's one of those where it's more of a showcase to show Bryan's brutal. This is healed Bryan for AEW. All for it. It was phenomenal. It was pure condescending dick. And I like that. Uno gets... there's a point every time Uno comes up to him, he's pushing him away, slapping him in his face. The best stuff is when he's getting him in the holds. He gets him in not an arm, but a leg lock. And Uno gets the rope break, and this is ROH throwback, and he goes, I have until 5, referee. That stuff, I love that. Uno gets a bit of resilience. He starts, when Uno hits a chop on Bryan, Bryan's shocked that it hurt, but then he's insulted. Uno starts feeling himself, gets Bryan in the corner, starts unloading the flurry of strikes on Bryan. Uno keeps trying to get the lariat and stuff, I think it was the lariat. And Bryan basically goes, you want to disrespect me? And Uno goes like that, trying to fan the chops, and Bryan just keeps pushing the head away. Bryan, like I said, is disgusted by this. He thinks Uno's a joke, which he is. And he keeps doing it. And then Uno keeps doing it, so he hits him with the chops, and then Uno hits him with one, and he's stuck by it. You can see Bryan's chest during the match. It is a bit red. then Bryan gets him in the corner eventually after a bit of an Uno resurgence, so to speak. Bryan eventually does get him in the corner. And he does a bunch of flurry and flying boots and stuff throughout the match. But he gets him in the corner, setting up the 3 flying boots. He does the 1, then the 2, then Uno counters the second, setting up another flurry by Uno. But then Uno goes to the top rope to try and finish at the top turnbuckle. Goes for one of those splashes. I'm not a big evil Uno guy, so I couldn't say what exactly it's called. Bryan gets the knees up, then goes for, he doesn't go for a thingy. He goes like that, and he goes, no, 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 to the crowd. And he goes, I'm going to kick. He gets his head kicked in, which he should, and he does. Brutally gets his head kicked in, goes to the triangle straight away, and he's instantly out. Uno's instantly out. Quick win. They put it over on commentary quite a lot. Like, Bryan looks mean. Bryan looks brutal. And stuff like that. And I loved it. Short match, perfect execution. I love heel Bryan. I think heel Bryan's just... He's brutal and he knows his quality. He's just, you know what I mean? He's a purist at heart. He's a hard worker. So he's not going to be insulted by... He knows his quality, you know what I mean? It's not cockiness, but it's more arrogance in a way. And I love it. I love it. It's so good. He does a fine job. It's not really about him. It's about Bryan showcasing his new personality. His character works. Obviously incredible. After the match, Shivani gets in the ring with Bryan. It's sure after the match, Bryan's gone like that to the crowd. The crowd hate him here. They hate him. And then he gets the mic after Shivani and he goes, look, I come out here to show Hangman respect. But after that, you know, I don't know when it'll be, but I'll be facing Hangman for that belt. But he said, and then he goes, but until then, I'll get people like this joke. He basically calls Uno a joke there because Uno's still in the corner. And he goes, I'll go through the entire Dark Order until I get him, including next week in Chicago. There's a Dark Order member who's from Chicago, Colt Cabana, and Colt Cabana gets called out for a match. Bryan says, if you got the balls, because I'll kick your head into end of it, and he leaves. That was, again, it's more of a character work than an actual technical match. It's an okay match. I mean, I love it because heel Bryan. You don't understand, this is my guy. But then also, Uno's fine. Uno does the job. I love, one of my favourite matches ever is Uno getting beat the hell out of by Jon Moxley. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. I love it. And I love stuff like that. But Bryan just, the whole attitude of Bryan's, new heel persona for AEW is, I'm going to go through all these guys just to prove a point that I'll kick your ass too. I love it. This guy is why he's the GOAT. And yeah, the character work in this match, the brutality, the pure condescendingness from him. When he's looking at him going, Uno, like, you are a joke, get out of my way, keep pushing his face. And when Bryan gets him in the corner, he goes, you want to disrespect me? You want to disrespect me? Oh my God, I love that. Like, Bryan knows his status. He won't be disrespectful to people who are on his level, but people who are ridiculously below. There's a couple of shots where he's looking down on Uno, and it just sums it up perfectly. Perfect shots to encapsulate the match. But Bryan won't be disrespectful to people who he believes are on his level, deserve to be in that ring, but people who he deems as a joke, like Evil Uno, won't stand for it. And yeah, it's my GOAT. Have you seen this match? What's your opinion on this? What's your opinion on heel Bryan Danielson? Because this guy is the shit.